Hey guys, welcome back to the Grow Tent. We got a great episode for you today. We are going to be talking about all the most important questions that you could possibly have as a new grower, and they're completely randomized in the comment section from our part 1 video the other day. First, remember this video is brought to you by Mars Hydro. If you need anything, use discount code in the video description below, and the links get you money off your final product. You can join my Patreon. It's fantastic. We actually show the videos of the plants anymore because YouTube yells at me when I put them on my channel for some reason, but nobody else will never. Well, they still yell at them too. As always, we're brought to you by Cherry Bubbly. I can't believe I got through this whole section. I'm actually recording the intro after I just did the whole video without taking a drink. If you want to grow the same equipment as me, you can find it at welcome-to-growtent.com. What else is there? I know there's more stuff I'm forgetting, and I've got a giant pile of stuff. Oh, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Watch the full video, even though it's a long one. I'll see you. Let's go. Woo! Welcome back, everybody. Another fantastic episode of the Grow Tent. So we dropped a video on, did we drop it on Friday or Saturday? I don't remember. We dropped it on one of the 2 days, and I asked you guys to ask questions that you wanted me to answer. This is kind of like we do it with the live format, but instead of some people don't tune into the live, so I figured I'd do a video on it, and we're going to go through 20 questions, and that's going to be confusing. So I've got my pen and paper here, and I just told you I would grab condoms. Oof. I just told you I would grab comments at random just out of the comment section, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to keep tally so I don't go under or over, because I said I'd do 20, and that's a lot. So let's get going on it. So the first one is, this is really a two-part question. As a new grower, and if you think I'm making these questions up, you can obviously find them yourself in the comment section. I mean, come on, why would I make them up? There are plenty there. I got 346 comments to choose from. Well, 345 because one of them's mine, where I tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, if you haven't done that, you should do that on this video. And also, join the Patreon. Helps out support the channel a ton. All right, so this is really a two-part question. As a new grower, would you recommend autos, photos, feminized, bag, or go straight to good genetics? Thank you for making gardening enjoyable. Hey, thank you, Operation Annihilation. I like that name. Okay, so as a new grower, I would recommend you start with photos, and I would recommend you start with regular seeds, not regular exotic bird food, not feminized. I know everybody's gonna be like, what? Why? Because with the feminized you get, it's all female. One, feminized seeds are more expensive, and if you're just starting out, I don't know what your bankroll's like, but feminized seeds also do have a tendency to herm easier because of what they have to go through to get the process of making feminized seeds. Now, if it's done correctly, if you'd like to see how it's done correctly, you can join my Patreon. I got a video series going on it right now. It's not as bad, but if the feminized seed was caused from a stressed plant that was then hermed, and then you take those seeds and try to grow them, not good. Okay, those ones are almost always going to herm on you, even from the slightest stress. And if you're a new grower, you're going to stress them. Man, I'm taking way too long with these. If I'm going to do 20 of these, this freaking video is going to be an hour. So I would say go regular. Plus, you really, when you're starting out, you really want to learn male and female plants. And if you buy regular seeds, you'll get to see it. You'll get to throw the males out, and then you'll be able to grow the females and then turn one into a mother and take clones and never have to buy anything ever again, which is the goal. Or go straight to good genetics. Man, these days, any bank that you get this stuff from is going to be decently good genetics. I don't really recommend bag, because you don't honestly know really what it is. You don't know, it's just, this process takes a while. So the cost of buying some decent genetics and exactly what you want is worth it, in my opinion, to just buy them. Whereas if you're getting your bag, it still takes the same amount of time. I mean, you've got seedling stage, you've got veg stage, you got flower stage, then you got drying, then you got curing. I mean, you're talking 5 months of your life. What's $50 whenever you go buy some somewhere compared to the 5 to 6 months it's going to take you to do this. Probably closer to the 6-month mark if you're new. Okay, so that was question 1, and it took 4 minutes. Okay, we'll speed them up from here. I'll try my best, but when somebody asks me a question, I try to thoroughly explain it. So let's scroll around a little bit. AGT, first off, I didn't scroll down very far. I went down like 2 spots. I'm sorry. I'll skip around more. Hey GT, first off, thank you for your content and live streams. Hey, you're welcome. The community appreciates your input. My question is, how important is it to water to a runoff? It's 100% important. That's how important it is. I hear people say that it helps flush out salt buildup from newts, but if you're starting off with Fox Farms Ocean Forest and plan to amend the soil with dry amendments after the flip, is it necessary to water this way? Thanks again, GT. Whenever you're doing this, you're not watering it to flush out the plant. Whenever you're watering till runoff, you are watering to make sure that you are completely saturating the bucket from top to bottom. I really want to break the whiteboard out right now, but I mean, we're only on question 2. If I break the whiteboard out, there's no way I make it to 20 without this video being 2 hours long. Should I do a 2-hour video? I don't know. That sounds more like a live stream, which is kind of what this is, just a live stream that we've done in video format. The purpose for why you are going to water your bucket till runoff is so that you have complete saturation of the soil. And by having complete saturation of the soil from top to bottom, instead of just pouring some in and then having to go in a day or 2 later and do it again, this is for growing with soil and cocoa, is that you don't have to water as often. And if you don't have to water as often, you have a less chance of overwatering. And overwatering is the #1 problem you can have with the C word plant. And it also leads to the biggest result of people not finishing and not getting the yield. So the purpose of watering till runoff is it keeps you from watering so often. Which is the best thing you can do is not overwater. That's why you hear me talk about it so much. All right, that's question 2. All right, we did that one in 2. No, we did it in 3 minutes. Dang it. All right, we got 1 minute faster. I mean, that's 25% better. All right, let's skip around a little bit. What advice from... Oh, that question was from Nate Day, that last one. Thanks, Nate, for the question. I appreciate it. Next question is from the Artful Codger. Hey, that's a Patreon member. What advice would you give a grower who wanted to begin a perpetual grow? Once we have the basics down, what are your first steps towards harvesting more often? Okay, so if you want to harvest more often, I always tell people the simplest setup to get a perpetual grow going is to have 3 stations. You're going to have your Mondi Dome station. You're going to have, if you want the simplest setup for where you're going to harvest every other month. This is what you would do. You would buy a Mondi Dome station. That's your seedling area. And again, you're going to be doing this, you can do this with autos, but I prefer photos because you're going to be going through a lot of seeds if you do Autoflowers perpetual harvest, and Autoflower stuff is expensive. Whereas with photos, you can take clones to put in your Mondi Dome, and then you don't have to worry about the constant uptake of new money. It all runs for free when you deal with photos because you just take clones, put them back in the Mondi Dome, and then continue on your cycle, and you never have to pay any money for this ever again, which is the goal, because I don't like spending money. I like keeping my money and getting my stuff for free. So that's how I do it. So you're going to have a Mondi Dome station, you're going to have a 2x4, which is going to be your veg tent, and then you're going to have a 4x4, which is your flower tent. You're like, well, GT, why'd you pick those sizes? Because they're exactly half or double the size. So everybody knows that we flip the flower when we hit 50% of our flowering floor space. Well, if our 4x4 is 16 square feet and our 2x4 is 8 square feet, we know that every time our veg plants have completely filled up our 2x4, they are ready to go into the 4x4, which if 8 square feet is half of 16 square feet, we know that since we filled up our 2x4 and then we've placed them in the 4x4, they are 100% ready to go to flower. So it takes some of the guesswork out of whenever you are doing this. Oh, I forgot to mark that we're on question 3. It takes some of the guesswork out. And remember, anytime we can take guesswork out, it is a bonus. And then everybody wants to know a timeline on it, and unfortunately that's not something I can really help you with, because the timeline is going to depend on you and how long it takes you to get through each stage. The seedling stage should be Regardless, of course, you only have to do the seedling stage once, and then you're going to go to the clone stage, which is faster than the seedling stage. You see how this is going to start to get complicated? And you're going to do seedlings the first time, and then, or seeds the first time. I dropped my pen. Hold on. No, that was the only one I had. No, wait. I came prepared. I had a second in my pocket, but I can't click this one. You're going to do seeds the first time, and then after that, you're going to start doing clones, pending that you, I guess, like the strain, but that's your end goal, because it's going to knock some time off your seedling stage, and they're going to get bigger faster, which will cut down on that. And then as you get better every single time, I feel like I'm pointing at you guys a lot. You're going to get better every single time, which is going to speed up, well, to a point, how long it takes you to get through veg. You're going to adjust your plant counts. And once you adjust your plant counts, it's, you know, you're eventually, the better you get, the less plants you're going to learn you need to grow to fill up the given space. And it's going to reduce your workload when you do that also. Okay, that's enough of that. That's basic rundown. I don't want to get too far in depth with perpetual grows, because until I know you and I know how your gardening style is and how good of a gardener you are, I can't give you a timeline. I can give you like a basic kind of thing. Let's scroll down. We're going to buzz down the list here some, because that was question 3 and we're 10 minutes. So we shrunk it down. Did we shrink it down? No, because we were finished at 6 minutes. We went back up. But I did drop my pen, so I'm giving myself a pass. Let's see. Here's my question. Let's see. I thought I saw a good one, and then I scrolled past it. I apologize. Hey GT, loving the content on these Q&As. It's all sweet. I just have one question. May seem really, really silly, or just one really. Is this new series like a shorter version of the live stream Q&As? It is going to be like that. But you know, a lot of people don't tune into live streams, or YouTube doesn't notify them. You know, live streams usually get about 1,500 views on them, and whereas videos, you know, get 7,000 to 10,000. So I just kind of introduce you guys. Want to check out our live streams. We do stuff like this weekly, so make sure you turn on the bell notification and switch it to all. YouTube probably still won't tell you, but maybe you'll have better odds. There was one. Okay, this was the one. This one question is from Jason Dustin. This is something. Question: you are asked to choose 6 strains for someone's first grow. They ask you to select 6 that will represent a full range of effects the C word can have, from wake up to sleep, from soaring to introspective, social, etc. They want 6 different photo periods chosen for yield, quality, ease of grow, duration of grow, etc. Which 6 strains are you going to choose? Be specific with breeder you would choose to grow, please. First of all, Dustin, if anybody asks you this question, don't grow for them, because they are crazy. The way these plants affect everyone is completely different. What might be introspective to me is soaring to you, and to me, what calms me down might make you want to go dancing. Not always, but generally, you got to be real careful. You know, you grow a variety of plants and figure out one you like, and then you really focus down on that kind of lineage. And then you do what I do, and I start making my own, trying to bring things that I like into a specific area. But for someone to say, I want to grow 6 different plants all in the same tent, and I want max yield with the shortest time, it's a dream. You know, it's a dream. Well, anytime you're growing, you should keep the plants you should only keep one, really, especially whenever you're starting out. You should only keep one in there at a time, because they grow the same, they look the same. It'll make your life a lot easier if everything under the light is the same thing. It makes your day a lot easier. As far as stuff I would want for a beginner for ease of growth, I mean, PFG is probably the easiest, fastest growing one there is, and it turns purple at the end if you like that kind of stuff. Northern Lights, Blue Dream, all fantastic choices. And if YouTube's wondering, I'm talking about cigarette tobacco, nothing else. All right, so all right, for this one's, God, I forgot to mark that one. I could have gone on for hours on that conversation, but if anybody asks you to grow like that, I probably would not spend too much time growing for them. Hey GT, this question is from Claire. Hey, it's another Patreon. Hey, and this is question 5, ladies and gentlemen, at 15-minute mark. This is going to be an hour video if I can stay on the current pace. Hey, hey there, GT. Thank you for the great content. Question: can I make clones from a plant in flower? And you can. It's called monster cropping. It takes fucking. Oops, sorry, YouTube. My apologies. That's my one. I get mulligan on that. You can. It takes forever whenever you're re-vegging plants from flower, but you can. Let's say you find a plant that is a amazing pheno. It's super frosty. It smells fantastic. You know, you've cut down part of it and tried it, and it is amazing. You're going to take that plant, you're going to stick it back to 18.6, and it's going to take a while, but it will throw itself back into veg. At that point, when it throws itself back into veg, you take your clones, restart your clones, and then you're off to the races with that prize-winning pheno. But if you're just talking about should you throw regular plants that you don't really care about from flower to veg, freaking no. It will be way faster to start new plants. But if you do have that amazing pheno that you really like, giddy up. You're off to the races with it. Maury says, thanks for helping me step my grow up. Man, I fucking about didn't read that. Thank you for helping me step my grow up tremendously. How early can you start training your plants? I actually start training my plants in week 3 of seedling. That's whenever I top them. If you go to some of my earlier videos on when to start topping the C word, not meaning the actual C word, I'm meaning what the C word represents. And it's not a mean word you would say to girls. It's something else that YouTube doesn't like me to say. I start training mine in week 3, but that doesn't mean you can. It means I do because my plants are ready for it. And if you watch that video, it will show you when your plants are ready for it. But I start training week 3 of seedling. Most people start training week 1 or 2 of veg. But if I start training my plants in week 3 of seedling, and you start training your plants in week 2 of veg, it might explain why I'm able to get through veg so fast, and because my plants triple the size yours is by the time you start training. All right, so that was question 5 or 6. I think that was 5. I don't know. Crap, I think that was 6. I don't know. If I'm short one at the end, I don't know. Yell at me. All right. Yamagrow 420 says, congrats GT on 45,000. That's right, we just hit 45,000 subs. And sincere thank you for your knowledge. I have no question at the moment, and just wanted to let you know how appreciative you are. Thank you, sir. Hey, thank you, Yama. I appreciate that. That was a nice short one. See? And I'm not pre-reading these. I pre-read the one at the top just because I was like, man, I got to address this one. Let's see here. This one's from Christian's C-word corner. Hey, GT, absolutely love your content. But on a main note, what are your thoughts on growing organic with no-till soil? I think it works. And cover crops. I don't think the cover crops are necessary. The no-till soil works fantastic. I know a bunch of people that use it very, very well. Let's see. Would you ever consider doing a series on no-till growth? Also a fun one. If you could choose one strain for the rest of your life, what would it be? PFG, hands down, no questions asked. And that's if you made me stop right now, because I'm trying to improve on it, but it's really the only thing I'm smoking these days. I actually have some of it loaded right here. I have a bunch of it ground up right here, and it fills my dugouts everywhere I go. All right, so that was 7. Hey GT, this is from Sean Zolinsky. GT, I've been primarily, remember, I'm doing these blind. I have no idea what the rest of this question says. I've only read those 1 or 2 questions that were at the top before I started scrolling down. So one of them might just be saying like, hey GT, your information sucks, blah, blah, blah. I hate you. I wish you had more hair and were prettier. I mean, that could say that. I don't know. I'm not pre-reading these. So if it says that, I mean, I can't do much about the hair, but I mean, I'm pretty. GT, I've been primarily an auto grower. I know, sweaty face emoji. for the past few years now, and I've used liquid nutrients sparingly to this point, which is good because autos don't require nearly as much as photos. My next few crops, I'm wanting to try the dry amendment route out of curiosity. Okay. Question is, should I mix dry amendments into the bottom half of my 5-gallon plastic pots that would be filled with ocean forest, or just top dress a bit of the soil as the soil comes pre-amendment? I do start my exotic bird food in their final container. It took about a year or so to get that right. A lot of praying, by the way. Thanks for all the great advice and sharing. It certainly helped my grow reach a higher level. Peace. Hey, thanks, Sean. If you were going to grow with Fox Farms, it is a pre-amended soil, so you don't need to put your dry amendments in right away. What you would do is just water, and you don't need to put it at the bottom, you don't need to top dress it in, because the food is already in the Fox Farms Ocean Forest. Fox Farms Ocean Forest is meant to be a flowering newt, not a vegging newt. So like what I do with my autos is I fill the bottom half up with Fox Farms Ocean Forest, and I put Happy Frog in the top half. And that way they start in the Happy Frog and then grow down into the Fox Farms. Now, the difference is sometimes these bags can be extremely high in the runoff ppm area. I've had bags that come out as high as 4,500 ppms in the soil runoff. So they would probably not have to ever add any nutrients to that bag or to that pot because there are so many nutrients in it. On the other hand, I've had the exact opposite thing happen, and the bag only started off with like 650 ppms, and I've had to feed right away. So it's going to depend on what I would do. If I was you, I would put the bag in, water till runoff, wait till it was dry, water again, because I don't ever check that first runoff, and then water it again and check that runoff. And if it says it's something insane like 4,000, you're probably not going to have to add any dry amendments the entire grow, depending on the size of the pot you put them in. Like if you put it in a 5-gallon or 7-gallon, definitely not going to have to feed them the entire grow. If you put them in a 3-gallon, you're probably going to have to feed around week 3 or week 4 of flower. But generally the way I do it is, since you're starting in a pre-amended soil, I do not feed them until the runoff ppm drops into the 800s, or if I notice a deficiency showing up, and then I adjust for whatever that deficiency is with my nutrients. But generally, you don't have to put the dry amendments in. And if you're going to run dry amendments, I wouldn't suggest adding them anytime after week 4 or week 5, and then just let them run naturally out of the bucket. So that's the nice part about dry amendments and soil. A lot of people, what they do with their Fox Farms is, if they're going to reuse their Fox Farms, they will grow it out the first time. They may add, a little bit of nutrient here or there, and then if they're going to reuse it, they will sit there and get all the plant material out of it and let it dry out again, and then mix it with dry amendments in. So you are re-amending the pre-amended soil that was pre-amended. That took way too long. We're at 22 minutes. All right, let's scroll down some more, go crazy here. All right, Joe Chrisman, thank you for the comment first. He said, thanks for your content, GT. Oh, thank you. Much appreciated. Question, do you, can you, should you, man, I like it, all the different pretexts, use mag sulfur in the flower stage if the plant doesn't show a deficiency? Does it help with terp production? Con! I'm making a video. What's up, buddy? You're live on the video. What's happening?
Oh, shit.
All right, I'll call you later. I'll call you later. Take your pants off. But...
All right,
that was Con. Sorry. If you guys watch me game, he's on there all the time. Okay, he says, do you, can you, should you subscribe to GT? Yes, you should. No, that's not the question. Use mag sulfur in the flower stage even if the plant doesn't show a deficiency. Does it help with terp production? Okay, the answer is yes. So with the mag sulfur, it's a bulking agent. It is a supplement. Can you get away without using it? Yeah, of course. Do you want to? No, because it's a bulking agent. It's going to help your flower put on weight. It is going to help them swell. It's going to help your yield. And you don't want to wait until there's a deficiency to add a product like this, because we're not talking about with a nutrient, where this is a supplement. And generally, you don't want the nutrients to go deficient either, because that means they start stealing them out of the leaves. So you got to look at it as like you're using your CalMag. It's just a supplement you're adding to your water, to your plant, that is going to help them in yield. Do you have to use it? Absolutely not. You can get away with just using soil the entire grow and nothing else if you were growing in soil. All right, thank you for the question. Oh, let's see, the Medshed. Hey, Medshed, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for the question. Congratulations on 45,000 subs. We got a live giveaway, lots of prizes next week. Next weekend. Not surprised at all. You're one of the easiest guys to follow and learn from. Hey, thank you, Medshed. I don't think we'll count that as a question, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Jonathan Bartholomew, thank you for the question. To the audience, GT's Patreon is legit. I promise you that is not on purpose. I did not scan these questions. It's honestly the best subscription I have. Totally worth it. GT, how do I stop overwatering in solos? I mean, well, the wrong person asked about that, because I hate solo cups, because I overwater them myself. I even have problems with it. I don't like solo cups. I don't like growing in them. I don't like watering in them. If they're like my Achilles heel, you know, everybody's got that one thing they just can't do right, no matter how much they practice. And if we're being honest, if I'm not doing a video series where I'm showing, well, shit, maybe YouTube don't even let me do that anymore. So the amount of solo cups I buy has gone drastically down. You won't ever see me in solo cups. I actually go right from the cube right to the 1 gallon. So I don't know. Overwatering in solo cups is not. This is not the best place to ask that information. All right. Let's see. Richard Hefferman. Hey, what's up, Richard? Have you ever grown other plants like herbs, veggies alongside of your seed crop? No. In my same tent? No. I will only use my space for seed crop. I like that, seed crop. I only use my tent space for seed crop because I want to maximize the amount of stuff that I put out in my given available space, and I don't want anything else taking up room. Thank you for the question, Richard. Bohemian, thank you for the question. That was 10. That's question 10, and we're in question 11. Yeah, at the 26-minute mark, Jesus. What is the best way to get your plants to stretch, and when do you do that? Okay, so the stretch is what happens in weeks 1 through 3 of flower, and how you get them to do that is by not stunting them. And when I say stunting them, I mean overfeeding, overwatering, too much light. If you give a plant too much light, I want to break out the whiteboard. These would be individual questions I could do whole episodes on. If you're giving a plant too much light, the plant will only grow into the correct amount of light it is getting. So if you're giving a plant too much light, it will never grow up into it. It will stay short and stunted. Or if you're overwatering them, you are going to be killing the root hairs. They can't pick up the nutrients, so therefore they cannot stretch because they don't have any nutrients to help them do it. And then too much food if you're just nuking the plant. You know, I mean, come on, it's kind of self-explanatory. But the stretch is something that happens naturally. I don't do anything that makes the plant do it. Well, I mean, I do flip it to flower, and that will cause it to go into stretch. The first week, they don't stretch too much. Weeks 2 and week 3 is the main weeks you're going to be concentrating on controlling your canopy with your trellis net. But there's nothing I personally do to get it to do it. I just stay out of its way. The plant does it all by itself. There's nothing I do besides flip the timer to 12-12 that get them to do it. With autos, you don't do anything at all. You just don't hurt them, and they do it all by themselves. That's why I say it's a house plant. Leave them alone. All right, we're going to scroll down some more. Hey, GT. I'm new to growing. This is from Mauser4104. Thanks you for the question, Mauser. I appreciate it. I'm new to growing. I purposely stayed out of these comments just so I didn't know what I was getting. GT, wait. Where Mauser? Where's Mauser? There he is. Hey, GT, I'm new to growing. I'm a few weeks away from my first time flowering. Can you tell me what would be the most important thing to watch out for or not to do? I'm a few weeks away from my first time flowering. Well, I mean, my answer is don't overwater the plant. What you'll find is if you don't overwater these plants, this growing thing becomes so easy that you really don't even have to watch GT anymore. I mean, I still suggest that you do, but you don't have to. Um, don't overwater them. Watch all my old videos because I got 300 videos full of plants, and I usually have videos basically on almost every question that you will ever find in my comment section. I've generally done a video about it. But I mean, the biggest one is don't overwater. You really need to pay attention to how you water. Take your time whenever you're doing it. Get to true runoff. Learning your water and your pot weights. How much your pot weighs whenever they're watered correctly or whenever they're not watered correctly are the best thing you can do to help further yourself along as a new gardener. Yo, UK Flower Power. Yo, GT, mark it down. Yo, GT, hope you are well. My question is, when switching to 12-12, do you start 12-12 by shortening the day hours first or increasing the dark hours first? Whenever I'm going to switch to 12-12, I go in there while the lights are on because it makes it easier for me to see in the dark room. I go in there when the lights are on, I grab the timer, I unclick or program them to go off. It doesn't matter if you're shortening the day or lengthening. It doesn't matter. Just flip your timer at 12-12. And then the next day I start counting as day one flower. I know some people, they're like, oh, we don't start counting flower until we see the plant start putting pistils and stuff out. I don't generally like to talk bad about other things, but a lot of people do that because they get to lengthen their grow without counting that their flower is actually started. If you look at my plants, the colas are gigantic. Every single time I start them the next day, I run a true 8-week flower the day after I flip the timer to 12-12. Day one flower. All right, I got a little off track. Focus, GT. The next question actually says that from Carbon Raptor. What is the first day of flower according to the breeders? Day light pattern change or sign of pistils? We literally just talked about that. I won't even count it. But he does have a really good question at the end of it. Should a new grower or intermediate maintain a calendar? I 100% do not think a new grower should ever not be writing everything down. It's the quickest way because you are going to forget, especially if you're trying to do like a perpetual grow, trying to maintain 3 and remember everything. It's really, really tough. I would suggest I still write stuff down on calendars because I have a ton of tints running. I don't write a ton of stuff down, but I write down the day I flip them to flower. I don't feed very often, so anytime I do feed, I make sure I write that down. If I have an excessive high or low in my runoff ppm, I actually will put that on post-it notes on the side of the tent, so it makes sure that I key into it anytime I'm looking at that garden. If there's anything special about it, I write that all down. Clipboards are great for this. So you can just get a printout. You can print out those little, monthly calendars and put them right on clipboards, and then you just hang that clipboard on that tent. And you always, anytime you have anything that's special about that tent, you can just grab it right off the side of the tent and write it down on the day and hang it back up. And that calendar always stays with those plants. So it makes it really easy. Or you can do like the big dry erase boards or the big desk calendars. I like to use those too. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Justin started with WTTGT. You're the man. What is the best tent recommendation you have for sturdy build quality, longevity, no light leaks? Thanks in advance. Well, I do have to say that this video is brought to you by Mars Hydro, and they sponsor the channel. So I'm going to tell you, but Mars Hydro does make a great tent. They are sturdy. I don't have any light leaks in any of the 3 of mine, and they are made from great quality. When it comes to tents, though, there is nothing better than a Gorilla tent. They are expensive, but you can literally do pull-ups from the framing. The tent, the pole sizes are gigantic. They are extremely tough, and there is no thicker material in the industry than a Gorilla. All right, I might get yelled at for that one, but you know, whatever. I'm going to speak the truth. Noop ATL, he's got a two-part question. How often do you plant bird seed directly into their final home? Only if I'm growing an auto and I don't want to mess with it. Number 2, where did you grow up? I grew up in the United States. Thank you for the question. But directly into their final home is, I don't really like growing autos. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but I don't really like growing autos. But and then I guess since people know that, they think it's funny to send them to me, so that I get. I mean, the amount of autoflowers that people send me is insane, and then I just grow them out, and then I give them away to my the people I caretake for. Because generally, I like what I like, and I like PFG. Let's see. The soil, our Dustin Wilkinson. Let's mark down another question. All right, guys, we're 3/4 the way done. This is question 15. We're at 35 minutes. The soil temperature of the soil you're transplanting into should it be the same as the soil your plant is growing in, or does it matter? Could you reduce the effects of shock? This is for all of us who choose not to dry out the soil next to the GT, the grow tent, therefore already balancing the soil temperature. Correct, Dustin. Whenever I have my soil, I keep it in the same room as my tent, so everything is the same temperature already because I've been drying it out with my tents. I do think it helps reduce the effects of shock. So even if you don't want to dry it out, you can just keep your bags of soil in the same room. Because remember, this is about prep work. The more prep work you have, the easier everything is whenever we're talking about this. So, you know, if you're like, oh, I need a transplant, I'm going to go buy soil today. Now, be prepared. Be prepared. I do think it helps reduce shock. GT, I grow, or AB says, and next question here. AB says, GT, I grow in a barn, garage-like structure. I'm struggling, I bet, to get my relative humidity above 30% in the winter, even running a humidifier. I know. If I don't stay on top of the humidifier, the RH will drop into the teens. Will it have a huge impact in my grow? Well, what will have a huge impact on getting into the teens is pretty low. What it will have a huge impact on is the amount you have to water. And you have to water more. It's going to lead to overwatering, which will end up affecting your yield. So yeah, whenever you're growing in a barn or garage, they're difficult because you're growing inside without the benefits of growing inside. So it makes it tougher. Bob Hughes, congrats, GT. You'll double that by the end of the year. I mean, I doubt I'll double it, but I wish. We'll count that as a question. Let's see. Jeffrey Lane, when you're growing photos, how do you leave the flaps open around the tent for airflow and avoid light leaks? Thank you. Hey, Jeffrey Kane, I actually did a video on this exact subject. So, you've got the side of your tent. Bam. You've got, I go get a, shit, I need something smaller. There we go. All right. You've got the side of your tent. You have your vent window on the side. I use like tote or big container lids, and I lay it up against the side. That way it still allows air to be drawn through. My flap gets to stand up and avoid light leaks. And that's how I do it. Good question. I like it. Quick, fast, simple. All right, let's scroll around a little bit more. U4EA Grow. What are you going to name that cute little puppy, GT? Man, if you guys don't know, we got a new employee coming March 1st. I got a friend, we got the wife finally talked to. I wanted a bulldog puppy for so long. And we got a white French bulldog puppy. And I really want to name her Zigzag. But I don't think the family's going to go for it. But, you know, we don't know. They're still going back and forth. I think some of the ones that are in the lead are like Nala, Bella, because the dog's Brinley, so we'd have Brinley and Bella. Tinley, I don't know. I want to name it Zigzag. I'll just call it Ziggs. All right, Cameron. Cameron says, hey, welcome to the Grow Tent. I am a couple weeks away from my first harvest. Congratulations, you've made it. I am so afraid of drying and curing process. I don't want the grass clipping taste. What are the main environmental goals for the initial drying? And when do I know it's done? Or what else can I do to not have a bad taste? Just looking for the best middle ground to start. I understand I'll have to adapt it to my growing situation. My humidity stays kind of low, 40 to 50. Should I get a humidifier for the drying? Okay, so for Cameron, that's a really good question. So I have great videos on both of these subjects actually, and they're about 20 minutes a piece. The drying one took place over like a 13-day period. So for the drying process, I like my stuff to dry extremely slow without developing powdery mildew. So it's a balancing line you got to do there. So I like to keep my temperatures around 65 to 70. If it's a little above or below that, who cares? And I like my relative humidity. This is actually the only time I pay a ton of attention to relative humidity is during the drying process, and I want it above 50 with a top of 60. Your golden area, or at least mine, is 55 to 60 range. If you can keep it in there, that's pretty much perfect. It give you the slowest amount of dry without overly drying your stuff. Because once you if you dry out stuff too much, you can't get it back. But if you keep it too wet, whenever you're putting it in to cure, you can develop powdery mildew really easily, losing your end yield, losing all of it, because powdery mildew spreads really fast. All right, so I have two great videos on this, and they're both about 20 minutes a piece. And one's called Curing C Word. And when I say C Word, I don't mean type in C Word. I mean type in what word I'm trying to say instead of C Word. And the other one's called Drying C Word, probably. Real inventive titles, I know. All right. We got one more question. Let's scroll around more. Let's see. What grow, medium, and feeding schedule would you recommend for autos? Oh, we already did that, so I don't want to use that as the last question. Oh, I am actually pre-reading these for one last question. How do you test regular exotic bird food to see if they're males or females? Well, you can't test the actual exotic bird food, the seed part. You can't test that, because if they could, they would never sell regulars again. They would only sell females because they could sell more of them. All right, so there's no way to tell in the seed form. I don't care what the video says, what anyone's video says. It's impossible unless you send, you can do it when they're seedling and send them off for genetic testing. But to actually look at the seed and tell, you can't. Okay, you can't. It's not something that's done. Otherwise, the people that make these never sell regular again, because feminized is worth so much more money. Especially feminized. If they were female, guaranteed female seeds that weren't feminized, so your chances of harming a plant was basically, you had really messed them up. Do you know how much they could charge for those? And you think they're just like, oh yeah, we're just giving it away for regular seed prize? Get your shit together. If they could make more money, they would. Sorry, I don't want to end it on an evil note. Jesus. GT, what did you used to do for a living, and where are you from? Why does everybody always want to know where I'm from? I'm from the United States. That's where I'm from. What did I used to do for a living? This is not nearly as dark one to end it on. Well, I still do have a regular job. I don't get to retire from making YouTube videos yet, but maybe someday. I was a paramedic for a long time. I worked in a very dangerous city. I worked on nights on the ambulance, and I took care of people. which I still kind of like doing today. I don't, not the paramedic part, but taking care of people I'm a caregiver grower for people that can't grow for themselves, or don't want to, so they like me growing for them. And but I used to be a medic in a very dangerous city. Worked at nights, so we got to see all kinds of cool and crazy stuff. I didn't want to keep doing it though. Since I worked in a dangerous city, I had to deal with a lot of, man, went right back to dark. A lot of little kids getting shot and stuff like that. And I still run some of those calls in my sleep. I got a gun stuck in my face one night, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. And that was it for me with medics. And now I'm a senior project manager at an environmental cleanup company. And that's what I do for my 9 to 5 throughout the week. And then I do this, the YouTube channel, the Patreon, answering emails, writing scripts, editing videos, and then gaming for Twitch. And then I make appearances on other people's channels. So I'm a very busy guy. But that's what I do. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out with me for 45 minutes. Oh my God. And so thank you all for hanging out with me. And I'll see you next time. GT. Out.